Hey Tyria, what's up? Welcome back. It is Pseudo. We got a balance preview update for April 15th and a date, which is dope. This is brought to you by the company that makes it impossible to go to the gym on a regular time and also needs something to drop on Friday to shift the cultural zeitgeist away from talking about that their next expansion got delayed a couple months. So let's check it out, shall we? All joking aside, I'm really happy to get these previews and let's dive into it, shall we? I'll actually be going through this on the wiki and have both linked in the description so that you guys can choose your poison of choice, as it were, for looking at these notes. Hi everyone, welcome to the preview for April 13th or 15th balance update. This update will largely be a tuning update with a couple functional changes. As always, the goal of previewing these changes is to gather your feedback before the live release. We'll be following the conversation and making further adjustments as needed. Thanks, Taylor Trigg Brooks, competitive designer. I like that Trigg gets to write these, even though he just basically got hired last year or something for this. That's awesome. Main goal of these, this is general. Main goal of this update are to bring some specializations in PvE up closer to their contemporaries and to further lower boon application in World vs. World. Heck yeah! Thank you for taking feedback. Specifically, quickness. Unlike alacrity, quickness is a boon we want to exist in World vs. World with more intentional applications. This update, we will be lowering quickness durations or changing applications we feel are too frequent in before they actually realize that celerity sigils are the problem and eventually adjust that. But let's get into it. General, Relic of Fireworks fixed an issue that prevented this relic from triggering with certain multi-part skills, such as Warrior's Great Sword Rush. Interesting. Didn't know that was a multi-part skill, but that would explain why it staggers whenever you lag in World vs. World. Probably also Line Breaker. Elementalist. Hammer skills are getting a boost in PvE. Dope. Targeting at bumping up the effectiveness of Hammer Catalyst. Power-based Weavers in PvE will also receive increased stats from Elemental Pylophony for more damage and potentially a bit more survivability. We're also making some tweaks to Weaver in competitive modes. Heck yeah, finally. With increased condition variety and more burst damage on Flame Uprising. Ooh. Flame Uprising, increase the burning stacks from 1 to 2, reduce the burning duration from 6 to 4 seconds in PvP in World vs. World, so more spike damage on burning. Polaric Leap, the skill now inflicts weakness in addition to its previous effects. Molten End, increased power coefficient from 2.0 to 2.4 in PvE only. These are the hammer changes, I guess. Rain of Blows, power coefficient going up from 0.5 to 0.6 in PvE only. Crashing Font, 1.25 to 1.7 PvE only. Cleansing Typhoon, interesting, a lot of these are on water. Reduce the cooldown from 25 to 20 seconds and increase the power coefficient from 1.5 to 2.0 in PvE only. Shock Blast, increase the explosion power coefficient from 1.0 to 1.75 in PvE only. Hey, explosions are my thing. And Ground Pound, increase the power coefficient from 2.0 to 2.4 in PvE only. Weaver changes. So these are the ones that will matter for you competitive folks, I guess. Skill now inflicts cripple instead of vulnerability. Not something Weavers had a lot of. Increased stat bonus on Elemental Pylophony, hopefully I'm saying that right, from 120 up to 200 in PvE only. I guess that one's only PvE, but the cripple should be game-wide. Deployed Jade Sphere for Catalyst, now applies Fury instead of Quickness in World vs. World only. Little do they know, Fury is also an unbelievably strong boon, but I guess Elementalists already had quite a bit of it. This trait now causes Air Sphere on Spectacular Sphere to grant Quickness instead of Fury in World vs. World only. So I guess you just have to spec into it a little bit more in your builds, but the Quickness will sort of still be there. I'm okay with that. I like having to invest power budget in your builds. That was one of my biggest complaints on that builds video, and hopefully, they saw it and they seem to be taking feedback on it, which is dope. Engineer, power-based mechanists have fallen behind the pack, so they're seeing a damage increase with a bigger boost to ranged rifle variants. I'm assuming this is in PvE. As Engineer has been a commanding force in World vs. World as of late, we're making downgraded adjustments to support-focused Scrapper and damage-focused Holosmith builds to bring them more in line. Wow, they got 3 months to enjoy being relevant. Mechs are losing survivability in World vs. World to address strategies focused on target capping and large-scale fights. Kinda called that. Holosmith is getting more sustainability improvements in PvP through Super Elixir, Hardlight Arena, and Heat Therapy. Wow, they really want to cater to those Hollow players, but good for them. Holosmith is a dope spec. Conduit Surge, the Spear 2, reduced burning stacks from 3 to 2 in PvE only. Essence of Animated Sand, reduced initial might stack from 2 to 1. The Chain Reaction from 3 to 2 in World vs. World only. It's a short bow. boon skill. Super Elixir increased the initial impact base healing from 700 to 900 and the pulse healing from 204 to 260 in PvE and PvP. Okay, so just some weird moving around of Elixir kit. Acid Bomb reduced the initial power coefficient from 1.35 to 1.0 in World vs. World only. Probably wanted to be more of a support weapon. Flame Jet, the auto attack. Power coefficient per strike going down by 0.05 in World vs. World only. Rifle Burst increased the power coefficient from 0.45 to 0.6, and the grenade power coefficient that it also shoots, I believe, from 0.6 to 0.8, so rifle levers getting some buffs there in PvE. Blunderbuss increased the minimum power coefficient from 1.1 to 1.75 and increased the maximum power coefficient a little bit in PvE only. And Jump Shot, the Rifle 5, reduced the landing power coefficient from 1.74 to 1.45 in World vs. World only. I like how specific they're being with these, but man, is it hard to read in like a good cadence. So yeah, I was really hoping for a larger balance patch, but I haven't gotten a warrior yet, so I guess we'll see. Whatever. Scrapper, as I can't talk. Sorry. Reduce the might stacks from 3 to 2 in World vs. World only on kinetic accelerators. Hollowsmith Corona Burst, reduce the power coefficient in World vs. World only, 9.6 to 0.8. Hardlight Arena, reduce the cooldown from 45 to 35 seconds in PvE and PvP. And Prime Light Beam, reduced the field power coefficient from 0.5 to 0.4 in World vs. World only. I still like that this retains its damage. That's nice. They're not just dumpstering it again. Heat Therapy, increase the base healing from 34 to 39 in PvP only. All right, so you get a little bit more regen on your hollows. I saw EQ playing this. Shout out to him quite effectively. I think he was playing some kind of hybrid hollow the other day. He was dumpstering me in the terms of effectiveness he was pulling off. So hopefully, you know, Mechanist or, Hollowsmith gonna shine in PvP. That's dope. Mechanist, Jade Generated Shot, one of the auto attacks on the mech, reduced the power coefficient a little bit in PvE only. And Force Signet, increased the passive strike damage from 10% to 15% in PvE only. So I guess you have to spec into that a little bit more for your passive damage on mech. And reduced the Jade mech stat inheritance by 50% for toughness and vitality, and by 20% for all other stats in World vs. World only. So mechs are getting their survivability cut almost in half, barring their base stats, and all of the other stats being reduced by a factor of 0.2. That's... Boy, howdy, am I glad I already got done theory crafting Mechanist, and now we're on to Ranger. Guardian, this round of PvP Firebrand updates is focused on, this should just be the title of every patch, honestly, is focused on lowering the duration of Tome Dormancy to increase potential synergy with Virtue's trait line. The 5th pistol skill, Jurisdiction, is also receiving a functional rework to improve its usability. Its casting time will now be constant and no longer have to be reactivated to get the full value from it. I kind of like that, but alright, fine, we'll see. I'm sure Obsolete Pixel will have 4 pages of just on this skill, but I enjoy reading those. The skill's functionality has been reworked on Jurisdiction. The skill can no longer be reactivated, now fires at a constant rate of 0.85 seconds. The skill's projectile now always hits the first target struck, and its radius is always 180. The skill now stuns enemies instead of knocking them back. Better setups, I guess, on that. Increase the burning stacks from 3 to 5 in PvE only, and reduce the cooldown from 25 to 20 seconds in PvP World vs. World. So it's more spammable, but less instant castable. This is the charge up and fire shot, which actually was a really good setup tool if you insta cast it, but I guess you can't do that anymore. So I'll give you add some counterplay maybe to CCing the Guardian if they're actually running an offhand pistol 5. Firebrand, Tome of Justice, reduce the dormant duration from 30 to 20 seconds PvE PvP. Tome of Resolve, 50 to 30 in PvE and PvP. This is like the sort of recharge the tomes have, basically. Dormant duration on Courage going down from 75 seconds to 45 seconds PvE PvP. That's probably good. I kind of agree with that one, but we'll see. Valiant Bulwark, page cost going down from 2 to 1 in PvP only. These are good skills. I don't know how I feel about that. These are all on, or at least mostly on the Firebrand Tome 3. Stalwart Speed cost going down from 2 to 1 in PvP only. Overwhelming Celerity, reduce the quickness duration from 4 to 2.5 seconds World vs. World only. I guess more frequent or less frequent quickness application, like they said. And Stalwart Speed, increase the quickness from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. Increase the cooldown from 7 to 14 in World vs. World only. So the cooldown's getting doubled, but so is nice. And the effectiveness is getting increased by 1.5, which or 0.5, which is all right. Fair enough. Less spammable. More choose when you press it. Tyrant's Momentum. Reduce the condition damage bonus from 5% to 4%. I'm assuming that's per stack in PvE only. Cool. Guardian changes not completely just overpowered for once. Interested to see if Firebrand actually gets back in PvP in any capacity. Bladesworn when, am I right? Mesmer. In PvE, the power-based Chronomancer's Phantasm damage will be more potent, and Greatsword is also seeing damage increases to potentially become a more appealing option. We're also tweaking how Illusionary Membrane functions so it's easier to play around for conditioned-focused builds. Illusionary Membrane. This trait no longer causes Chaos Aura to increase condition damage and now grants a bonus to condition damage when you gain Chaos Aura, similar to Tempestuous Aura, so it just gives you a flat buff, I guess. Mirror Blade, the unblockable one, mind you, increase the power coefficient from 1.0 to 1.5. Oh, it's only in PV, who cares? Only. Phantasmal Berserker, increase the Phantasm power coefficient per hit from 0.23 to 0.3. I guess that's PVX. And Chrono Phantasma, increase the phantom damage modifier from 100% to 115% PV only, so Chronomancer getting brought up. Seize the Moment, reduce the Shatter quickness from 0.75 to 0.5 seconds, and Phantasm quickness from 1 to 0.75 seconds of World vs. World only. It's weird that they give the Phantasm quickness, but alright, maybe people are inheriting too much quickness from the Phantasms. Phantasmal Blades, and they really only want it to apply to the Phantasm hit. I know there's a trait in Mesmer that does that. Causes you to inherit your Phantasm's boons. And Phantasmal Blades, reduce the power coefficient from 0.7 to 0.575 in PvE only. So this really, so far, is just like a tune-up patch. Necromancer. Necromancer has been performing well recently in all game modes, so we need to fix that. JK, we'll see. Power-based Reaper and core Necromancer builds based on the Terror Grandmaster trait could be improved in PvP. Hey, Terrormancers out there, rejoice. So they're receiving a sustainability bump, weird, as well as a reduction cooldown of Spectral Ring to increase their killing potential. Grasping Darkness can be a frustrating still to get hit by, especially in large World vs. World fights. So can Owl's Flight, ArenaNet. Just saying. Where its visual effect might have a low visibility, this skill might have, or will now have, additional telegraph effect similar to Warrior's Staff, snap pull for enemies only. I'm not opposed to the Madden counterplay, it's just weird they're only doing it on Necromancer. It's also weird that they're adding sustainability to Terror instead of just increasing the damage on Terror. Purity of purpose just doesn't exist anymore, but alright. It's the world we live in now, I guess. Grasping Darkness. This skill now displays a warning telegraph to enemies only. When used, reduce the number of targets from 5 to 3 in World vs. World only. No more pulling entire Zergs off ledges, I guess. Consume conditions. Reduce the casting time by... I want to check this, actually. Hang on. This is the one that I think it is. This is the Greatsword 5, right? Yeah. Makes sense. A little bit more spammable. Consume conditions. Reduce the casting time by 0.2 seconds. Increase the base healing from 5,000 and change to 6,000 and change. That's actually 2,000 to bump. That's quite good. Nice that heal skill is just going to be good. Again, Spectral Grasp. Reduce the range from 1,200 to 600. Wow. Not 900 ArenaNet? 600? That's like nothing. That should be 900. That shouldn't be 6. That's an entire utility slot. That should be 900 minimum. That's weird. Spectral Ring. Reduce the cooldown from 40 to 30 seconds in PvE and from 40 to 35 in World vs. World in PvP. Especially because I think this is unblockable too, Spectral Ring. Yeah, the Fearon, that's not unblockable. You have to take the Shout to make this Spectral Grasp unblockable. That's so much investment. Let the people have fun, ArenaNet. This is weird. Spectral Grasp change is weird. Soul Eater, increase the healing from 5% to 10% in PvP only. I wonder if a dev got pulled or something and they're just like, no more of this nonsense. Ranger. A handful of Ranger traits are being updated to have unique interactions with some pet families. I thought they were getting rid of this for weapons. Why are they doing this for pets? Cool, but why? These traits will have an effect specifically for those pet families as well as a generic effect for the player or any pet. As a note, the family-specific portions of these traits do not interact with Soul Beast's Beast Mode. Okay. That's real specific. That feels like... I don't want to say it, but that feels like a dev just has some combinations they feel like playing with, and they want those combinations to do certain things, to be able to fight certain stuff. That's... I don't know, let's get through it. I don't know if I like that. I like that they can customize stuff more. I like the idea of having a trait that makes different families do different stuff. Or like a trait line that automatically gives that to you. This seems... I don't know. Let's see how they did it. Wolf's Onslaught, Spear skill. Reduce the power coefficient per strike from 1.5 to 1.25 and reduce the follow-up power coefficient from 3.0 to 2.5 in PvE. Only, I guess, Spear's overperforming in PvE. These are all PvE changes. Falcon Stoop, same thing. Little bit down in PvE only. Warclaw's Engage, same thing. Little bit down in PvE only. Predator's Ambush, little bit down in PvE only. And Stone Form. Okay, so this is an adept trait, I believe, in Ranger on Marksmanship. Trait now grants Might and Fury when activating a Signet in addition to its previous effects. Are they rolling in? What's the other trait called? The other one in Marksmanship that used to do this. Marksmanship, hold on, hold please. Brutish Seals, this. They're rolling in Brutish Seals to an adept trait. Okay, that's kind of like when you took the Warrior Elite Signet trait, or that was a Grandmaster, and made it an adept trait. That's extremely strong. This is already a good trait because it gives you damage immunity on an adept trait. Dude, this is weird. That's weird. I don't know. Wolf's Song, this trait now replaces Brutish Seals, there you go, in Marksmanship. Canine Beast skills now additionally inflict vulnerability. We're not getting a number of the stacks of vulnerability, just inflict vulnerability, I guess. And reveal enemies struck. Deal increased damage to vulnerable enemies. Are you kidding me? They're adding reveal... Chat, they're adding reveal... to wolves, specifically. That is, pun intended, literally wild. That's crazy to me. Okay, we don't get a reveal relic, you just have to be a ranger. I mean, we might get a reveal relic in 3 months. That's insane. And they're all not all called, like, song? Why are these not called song? Like, you know, Bird Song, one's called Wolf Song, one's called Fang and Claw, and one's called Arachnophobia? Why is this not called Spider Song? This is weird. These are weird. Fang and Claw, the trait replaces Spotter and Skirmishing. I mean, good. Spotter's kind of whatever. Feline Bird and Drake pets now gain additional critical strike chance and critical strike damage because Owl wasn't doing enough damage. Grant Fury to nearby allies when you use a beast skill. More Fury on Ranger to synergize with Remorseless. Ranger is just going to have a permanent plus 25% damage buff. Meanwhile, over on Warrior, you need to hit 2 Dragon Slashes or 1 fully charged Dragon Slash, and then you get a 21% damage buff for, like, I think it's 15 seconds. And the rest of your trait line is garbage. This is... more Fury on Ranger, I don't like that. I'm not a Ranger main, but like... this is weird. I don't... whatever. Ranger mains, let me know I'm wrong in the comments. Arachnophobia, this trait now replaces Taste for Danger and Wilderness Survival. Spider pets spit and devours pets twin darts, additionally inflict torment. That's fine. You and your pet gain expertise. Also fine. These two are weird. Especially in a patch that's like mostly kind of nerfs for other things. These are huge functionality changes that are going to have wide sweeping effects on the game, and they're only on Ranger. Alright, whatever, Trig. You go, girl. Allies Aid. This trait now causes Moa pet beast skills to apply barrier to nearby allies in addition to its previous effects. Cool. Moa's getting something too. It's weird that Moas aren't birds, but alright. Beastly Warden, this trait now grants Ursine and Porcine pets increased health and strike damage in addition to previous effects. Okay, so now not only do they have a 25-second cooldown when they're down in World vs. World, Soul Beast can revive them immediately, and they're impossible to kill. Sick. This is... Am I wrong? Outside of the PvE nerfs, all of these are Ranger buffs? I thought Ranger was in a good spot in the game, ArenaNet. Like, again, maybe I'm just, like, being super biased here. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, especially if you play Ranger. I thought they were getting rid of, like, the amount of investment you needed for specific weapons and weapon traits, and then they, like, didn't do that for any of Warrior's weapon traits. And now they're just doing more specific stuff that's cooler on Ranger. I mean, alright, I'm not opposed to... I don't want Warrior to, like, be amazing just because Ranger's amazing. I just think that this is so bizarre considering all the other stuff that we already read. Largely tune-ups and then this nonsense. Cool. We'll see how it affects the game, I guess. Ranger's world, we're just living in it. Revenant. Power-based Renegade and Vindicator will now both have increased damage in PvE. Rolling Miss is getting a healing component to boost. By the way, Ranger's already just got, like, slow on a pet. And prior to that, they had another insane pet, like the Chalk, that hits through projectile immunity. And I think the B pet gives you Bull's Charge. And they also have Revenant's unnerfed Sword 3 because Smoke Scale, the thing is just instacast and you can use it while you're stunned, I'm pretty sure. Like, why isn't Ranger... Whatever. I'm moving on. It's strange. Revenant. Power-based Renegade and Vindicator will have increased damage in PvE. Roiling Miss is getting a healing component to boost power-based Revenants in PvP specifically. Shortbow and Legendary Renegade stance are being improved to increase their viability in competitive modes. Bloodbane Path. Increased power coefficient per strike from 0.45 to 0.5 in PvP and World vs. World. I guess I'm just a Ranger main now. Sorry. Anyway. Spirit Crush. Increase the power coefficient on the initial pulse from 0.5 to 1.25. Reduce the power coefficient of subsequent pulses from 0.5 to 2.5. The total damage of the skill is unchanged. Charging Miss. Increase the energy gain from 15 to 20 in PvP only. Always scary when they give Revenants energy, but hey, I like it. Roiling Miss. This trait now converts a percentage of your outgoing critical strike damage. Gosh, I wish I knew what that percentage was into healing in addition to its previous effects. So kind of having auto Relic of Zakros there as well. Burst of Strength on Herald. Increase the power coefficient from 1.0 to 1.2 in PvP and World vs. World. Renegade, Lasting Legacy, increase the strike damage from 3% to 5% in PvE only. Bakerazor's Bastion, increase the base barrier when enhanced from almost 2,000 to almost 2,500 in all game modes. Razorclaw's Rage, increase the power coefficient from 1.07 to 1.5 in PvP and World vs. World. Dark Razor's Daring, the skill now grants stability to allies instead of protection. Good, it used to, I believe, or it used to give stability on cast. When enhanced, the skill now grants protection to allies in addition to resistance. That's great. Renegade needs to get some more play. I like this. Increase the healing when using another legendary Renegade skill on Soulcleaver's Summit, the Elite, from 1,200-ish to 1,400-ish. Rad. And Vindicator, Forerunner of Death, increase the power coefficient of Death Drop from 3.75 to 4.65 in PvE only. Thief. Wow, decent amount of Thief changes. Thief is seeing very small improvements to build components to potentially broaden viable selections. Blinding Powder will once again be an instant skill to make it more fluid while still retaining its stun breaking capabilities. Neat, especially since they just dumpstered stealth for thieves in World vs. World. They deserve this. I like that. The second Scepter skill, Shadow Sap, is becoming a blast finisher to allow scepter wielding thieves to both blast stealth more easily and better utilize certain skills like Relic of Kakarosa. So they're getting some tangential healing back in PvE, I guess. I know a big complaint of a lot of thieves was like, hey, why can't I heal in PvE anymore now that they reworked Shroud? So we'll see. That's neat. I wish they could have different relic options, but cool. Shatter Sap, skill is now a blast finisher. Falling Spider, reduce the power coefficient from 2. A lot of spider stuff in this patch. I thought they were trying to avoid that for people. Whatever. Reduce the power coefficient from 2.25 to 2.1 and reduce the damage bonus from 25%, which is quite a lot, to 15% in PvE. So the damage on the skill is going up, but the bonus is going down. Shattering Assault, increase the power coefficient from 1.75 to 2.0 in PvE only. Ashen Assault decreased the bleeding and poison durations from 7 to 5 in PvE only. Backstab increased the front power coefficient from 0.9 to 1.0 and the back power coefficient from 1.8 to so Backstab's doing more damage. 0.9 to 1.0 and 1.8 to 2.0 in PvP and World vs. World. Thief's getting a little bit of a buff. Cute. Wish they could have more than one build that, you know, didn't just spam stealth and nuke people, but hey, progress. Improvisation, increase the cooldown refund from 15 to 25% in PvP and World vs. World. That's horrifying. These thieves are already really hard to deal with that run that. Helmet Breaker, reduce the initiative cost from 2 to 1. Neat. Signet of Malice, reduce the casting time by, wow, quite a lot, nearly a second. Infiltrator Signet, where's my healing Signet reduction? ArenaNet, I guess we haven't got there, maybe. Infiltrator Signet, reduce the cooldown from 28 seconds to 25 seconds in PvP and World vs. World. Sorry, this is a lot of notes. April 15th, kind of going to be interesting, both for all game modes. Blinding Powder, skill's now instant, skill no longer grants stability. Oh, and removing the stability from it. Signets of Power, that was kind of the trade-off. Increase the initiative game from 2 to 3. Oh, more initiative on Signet traits. I think this is an add-up trait as well. Yeah, cool. Don't know if anyone will ever take it, but we'll see. Warrior. Warrior's adjustments are largely focused on turning Berserker in competitive modes weird. Berserker's burst potential is getting softened in World vs. World weird, and some alternative weapon choices are getting improvements for PvP. Berserker's sustainability is seeing potential increase through enhancements to Blood Reckoning and Dead and Alive, and its damage will be boosted through Fury Access on Burst of Aggression. What is Burst of Aggression? I think that's just like when you go into Berserk mode, right? Yeah, why? There's already a trait that gives you Fury on Berserker. It's here. Heat the Soul. That's odd. Whatever. They know something I don't. Snap Pull. Increase the cooldown from 18 seconds to 25 seconds. That's enormous. And reduce the number of targets from 5 to 3 in World vs. World only. Wow, that cooldown's probably game-wide. That's huge. Any notes in here about fixing Line Breaker, just running into a wall and not being cancelable? Nope, great. Just nerfing staff more. Martial Cadence, this trait, I'm not better, you're bitter, shut up. I'm a Ranger main now. This trait now grants stability instead of quickness in World vs. World only. Literally, I was about to start Theory Crafting Ranger. Maybe I'll put that off till this patch goes through. Berserker Stance, increase the duration from 5 seconds to, or 4 seconds to 5 seconds. Neat. Did they fix the cooldown in World vs. World for this? No, it's still 40 seconds. That's awful. Please do that. I mean, this is nice because it'll actually generate 30 Fury, or I guess 35 Fury base, but please fix the cooldown. 40 seconds is way too much in World vs. World. Berserker, Arc Divider, reduce the power... I didn't even have to read it. I was going to make a joke about it getting nerfed again. Reduce the power coefficient from 1.5 to 1.35 in World vs. World only because it's not allowed to do damage ever. Neither is Slicing Maelstrom. Reduce the power coefficient from 1.5 to 1.15 in World vs. World only. Increase the number of boons removed from 2 to 3 in PvE and PvP, but not World vs. World because it's just Arc Divider, but better. That's... Wow. Wow. Rupturing Smash. Increase the power coefficient. The best animated skill in the game, by the way. Rupturing Smash. Increase the power coefficient from 1.3 to 1.45 in PvP only. Flaming Flurry. Increase the power coefficient. Hey, a little bit of a buff on that. That's nice. Probably not affecting Zerging. From 0.33 to 0.4 in PvP and World vs. World. Dope. Blood Reckoning. Reduce the cooldown from 25 to 20 seconds. That's insane. This is already really short and the cast time's really short. Burst of Aggression now applies Fury in addition to its previous effects. I guess so Blood Reckoning and Auto Blood Reckoning can trigger better. And Dead or Alive. Increase the duration from 3 to 4 seconds. I believe this is the Auto Blood Reckoning trait. Yes, it is. So that'll go up as well. So Fury, now you'll be doing more damage and you'll be healing more if you have that survivability Berserker. Break Enchantments. Reduce the power coefficient from 1.0 to 0.7 in World vs. World only. That's neither here nor there. Wow. Holy crap. It is a good time to be a Ranger player. I actually might move my whole Theory Crafting Power Druid bad builds thing to... I don't know, 3 weeks from now, and we might look at Herald first. This is insane. It's really weird. Let me take a second. It's really weird to summarize this, that everything's like getting weird numbers adjustments, and then Rangers getting a whole bunch of functionality changes that seem to go against their whole, we're moving away from specific things that you have to spec into in terms of like weapons traits. but I guess pets aren't weapons. They're pets, and they deserve the rights and traits too. This is wild. Literally, this is the wild patch. Go hit it up. I'll have everything linked in the description. Check it out. Come back here for more on Monday. We stream Monday, Wednesday, sometimes Friday at 9. We'll be talking about this all next week. This is wild. Quite literally. I'm sorry to keep making that joke. Subscribe and follow if you like this nonsense. I stream Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, sometimes at 9. Already said that. And yeah, I'm Pseudo. Go play Ranger. Cheers. Also, no Bladesworn fixes. UI is still bugged unless they fix it. I'll see you in Tyria.